That's what I was going to say. They just won more. So, like, all of this stuff, I think, in terms of ownership and right, it comes down to the players. Like it is players. It's increasingly a players' league, and you have to have the right pieces. They don't currently have the right pieces. I'm not totally sure they will get them. They have the pieces to be a pretty good team. I'm not sure how close to great they can get. It's going to have to be, and I've said this, and I truly believe this. Like, their pathway to great involves a lot of things going right inside the building, as much as it goes along with, the team deciding that it's worth moving, first round picks for complementary players. In my opinion, it's getting Austin Reeves more comfortable as a third star. It's getting Jared Vanderbilt back. It's continuing to coach up Rui Hachimura. It's continuing to figure out rotations, to watch JJ Redick grow as a player. It's continuing to show LeBron that at this stage in his career, one, he can trust his teammates around him to seed some of that offensively, and two, that he can control the game, the way he did against Washington without scoring 30 points, without needing to score 30 points. There's a lot of things like that I think if they were all starting to go right at the same time, we could see this Lakers team level up. But I think there's just going to be a ceiling. That's the reality of it. It's a lot's going to have to go right for them if we're talking about the standards that the Lakers have set for themselves by all their championships.
I love your honesty, and it's funny you addressed it the way you did, because Dan, we sit here and talk all the time about owning a team and what's required and what you need to do. And sure, the Dodgers seem to now be the gold standard, and quite frankly, they have all the money. They can do whatever they want. Not everybody has that much money, but they have money. And even when you talk about the Lakers from an infrastructure perspective, front office, maybe not as many scouts, maybe not as many analytics people. Those are things you need to compete. Steve Ballmer has.
Well, and they've added, and Fred, and that's my point. They have added in those departments. To be clear, they have added to their analytics department. That has gotten bigger. I think there are some pretty big holes when it comes to pro personnel scouting. I think it's the biggest shortcoming. But you can make an argument now that you live in a world where everything is available instantly via film. It's not you can look at this a couple different ways, right? There isn't just one way to cook this egg. You can do it a bunch of different ways. And I'm not trying to hold water. I'm not trying to defend them. If I had access to resources, I would deploy as many as possible. I would cast as wide of a net as possible. But I think there are some limitations, and that I don't want it to make it sound like that I'm saying a lack of pro personnel scouting is the reason this team is in sixth place and not in third. I don't believe that to be true. I think the reason they're in sixth place and not in third, quite frankly, is that it's really hard to win when you're half your payroll is tied up in two players. And, it's just hard. And if those guys are deep in their careers, it's tough. Look around the league, look at the teams that have, look at the best teams in the league. What are they're almost universally to some degree, they're young and early in their prime right now. That's just the reality of it, right? Oklahoma City, young and early in the prime. Cleveland, players that are young and at the start of their prime. Boston, players that are young, and right in the middle of their prime.
Which has a humongous payroll. But again, they've got two guys that they drafted, so it makes it a little
totally
bit
different. It's just totally different. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I think you look at the problems that, Golden State and that Phoenix and that the Lakers are having, particularly with consistency. I think what's tough is that, all of these teams have aging stars, and the stars are all good enough. They're all three of those guys, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, LeBron James, they're all good enough to kind of convince you that it's worth it to still go for it. And that's the interesting decisions that these teams are all going to have to make is it really what's it worth putting behind these players, that are, unquestionably in the last stages of their careers, certainly the last stages of their careers as credible best players on championship teams.
All right. Well, Dan, thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing your insights.
Guys, a pleasure as always. And again, everybody seriously be safe.
All right. You too. Thanks, Dan.
Rogan and Rodney.
AM 570 LA Sports. All right, during the break, I want you guys to look at the Instagram thing I sent you. All right, then we can discuss that. The self-vasectomy man. So check that out.
Your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, cash. That's cash. Enter it now. AM570LAsports.com.
Now, the Home Depot has up to 35% off select appliances like Samsung, ranked number 1 in customer satisfaction. Shop the mega capacity 3-door French door refrigerator with 4 types of ice to chill your drink faster. Or the 5-burner electric range with no preheat air fry for healthier, crispy food all in your oven.
Surgery on himself, like Doc and Gunsmoke used to perform surgery on people. We got to take that bullet out. Here's a shot of bourbon, bite on this piece of wood, and let's go to work.
See where your mind is? That's the problem.
Kevin, you didn't get that same impression?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't really think that deeply about it. But if you would have told me, there's an extra set of hands, I was like, yeah, I could have assumed that he would have helpers. As great as Neil Elatraj is, I'm sure he has people in there helping him out when he's performing Tommy John surgeries, Fred. Not doing everything by himself.
But this guy said he was
it's all about Neil Elatraj. It's not about anybody else. It doesn't say the 10 people that were in the room when Dr. Neil Elatraj does Tommy John on somebody. It just says Neil Elatraj performed the surgery.
Yeah, because he's doing the bulk of the work. He's if you want to call it an art or whatever you want to call it, he's the one doing it. And I am to believe that this gentleman, whose name I'm not going to attempt because I don't want to butcher it, did the bulk of the work on his own, and he had assistants in there helping him out, Fred.
Well, Chen Meng Wang.
I don't think, all right.
Isn't that what it is?
I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know why this went so south. All right. Well, I'll tell you one thing. If anybody has any questions...
Your mind is ridiculous.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I just told you a story.
I don't either.
I told you a story.
Now you're trying the guy does it on himself. Now you're trying to vilify the guy because he happens to have a nurse or someone else in the room with him.
I just didn't know what those other hands were doing. Look, if anybody wants to discuss this more, you can come to Spotlight 29 Casino on Friday. That's where we'll be doing the show from. Spotlight 29 Casino in Coachella. That's Eric Dickerson's favorite spot in the Coachella Valley. And here's what you do. You get out here about 11:50. You can get out here earlier, that's fine, but get out here by 11:50, settle in for the show. We are giving away prizes like you can't believe. Opening week tickets to see the boys in blue. And you will determine, along with us, what game you'll go to. That's pretty cool. We're giving away a signed Eric Dickerson jersey, a signed Christian Okoye jersey. We're giving away a 55-inch Westinghouse TV and like $100 or $200.
The number of consumers who hear your message times the response rate equals the results. Now let's get those results growing for your business. Radio's here now more than ever, and iHeart's leading the way. Think radio can help your business? Think iHeart. Streaming, podcasting, and radio, where the reach is real. Let us show you at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com. Or call 844-844-iHeart. One more time, just call 844-844-iHeart and get radio working for you.
If you missed any of Rogan and Rodney, you can podcast it on the iHeartRadio app.
Rogan and Rodney.
AM 570 LA Sports.
Come on, let's wind it down. Rodney Pete. Fred. Vasectomy road.
Okay, we got to get out of here pretty quick. Roki Sazaki's news conference starts at the top of the hour. Petros and Money will jump aboard. They'll guide you through that. David Vassay is out at the stadium. Media's first opportunity in mass to talk to Sasaki, find out why he made the decisions he did. I can tell you why he made the decision, because it was the right decision and the only decision.
The only decision. It's the only decision he can make, Freddie. You know that. We know that. What are we talking about?
So we just conducted the whole news conference.
That's it.
Because there's really nothing else to say.
Listen. Toronto, San Diego. Listen, let's be honest. You guys have never had a shot.